Welcome back to Gospel Kanji. I'm your host, Kent Cisco. In the previous episode, we looked at the palm branches used to welcome Jesus into Jerusalem. The kanji we examined for palm tree is a general term, but historically we can be more specific. The palm branches used during Jesus' triumphal entry were almost certainly taken from the date palm, a tree common throughout Judea at the time. In the ancient Near Eastern and Mediterranean world, the date palm carried clear meaning. It symbolized victory, peace, endurance, and kingship. So this wasn't a random choice. Raising these branches was a recognized way to honor a king. And in kanji, that distinction matters. Just as in English, we place the word date in front of the palm to specify the type of tree, kanji does something similar. The kanji for date is placed alongside palm to identify exactly which palm is being referenced. This matters because this is the kind of palm used to welcome Jesus as king as he enters Jerusalem. Here's where the kanji does something remarkable. The kanji for date is composed of two identical components stacked vertically, one on top of the other. When arranged this way, they identify the fruit of the palm tree, the date. Visually, the structure suggests something being lifted or raised, an image that fits this moment perfectly. This is the scene where the crowd cries out, "Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." Jesus is being openly welcomed as king. Just days later, Jesus stands before Pilate. Pilate asks him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answered, "It is as you say." Pilate finds no guilt in him and wants to release him, but the crowds insist. Pilate washes his hands and says, "I'm innocent of this man's blood. See to that yourselves." And the people respond, "His blood shall be on us and on our children." Jesus is scourged and handed over to be crucified. The palm branches are no longer raised in honor. Instead, we read this. The soldiers take Jesus into the praetorium. They strip him, place a scarlet robe on him, twist together a crown of thorns, put it on his head, place a reed in his hand, kneel before him, and mock him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." Just days earlier, date palm branches were raised in celebration. Now look at what happens in the kanji. Those same two identical components, previously stacked vertically, are now placed side by side, and the meaning changes. The kanji now means thorns. It also carries the sense of biting words, sharp speech, and mockery. Nothing is added, nothing is removed. Only the orientation changes. The same components that welcome Jesus as king are rearranged to mock him as king. This is exactly what happens during this week. The people proclaim him king, then they turn him over, and the soldiers ridicule him as king. The kanji doesn't invent this story, it illustrates it. The authors of these kanji, whom I'm suggesting were wise men from Japan, understood what happened here after the events were explained to them by the disciples following Pentecost. The shared component in both kanji carries the idea of thorn. Jesus knew before the triumphal entry that he was headed to the cross. He knew he would be mocked. None of this surprised him. One thorn stacked atop another, lifted in celebration, identifies the date palm, a tree bearing fruit, a symbol of honor. Then the moment turns. Those same elements shift side by side, now forming thorns and cutting words. This isn't vague symbolism, it's structural storytelling, a way the events of that week could be illustrated and preserved, shared with the people in the land of the rising sun who never walked the streets of Jerusalem, but came to understand what happened there. It shows a clear awareness that the same Jesus, proclaimed king, is mocked as king, using the imagery of the date palm, first to honor him, then twisted into the imagery of thorns, all within 1 week, what many around the world call Holy Week. This kanji component doesn't just name objects, It tracks the emotional and theological turn of the Passion, from celebration, welcome, and hope to rejection, mockery, and suffering. And it does so using nothing but arrangement. The parts are the same, only their position changes, just as many in the crowd remain the same. These two kanji, date and thorn, don't prove anything on their own. But with scripture as the historical record, they serve as a powerful illustration, one that mirrors the gospel story with striking precision. This is Gospel Kanji. See you next time.